first question, we'll try to understand what is the syllabus of paper 2 like, and this understanding we will try to do parallelly by looking at the question papers of 2024 mains, each of the GS question papers, and we'll try to draw some kind of a overlapping so that you understand what you are supposed to learn in paper 2 as well, and you understand what we are supposed to borrow content from paper 2 and GS, and also the other ways, right, from GS also to paper 1. And later on, if not today, in fact in the later sessions, we'll pick up some sample questions and also identify as to what if the same question is asked in GS paper 1, how should I be able to answer that question? If the same question is asked in sociology paper 2, how should I write the answer? And definitely there is a variation in the way you attempt a question which is asked in sociology, you attempt a question in, but still in both the answers, lot of content will also be common getting in. And that is where your interlinkages are going to fetch you marks both in your GS as well as and that is how I was able to manage to score so well in my GS papers as well as my optional papers. Okay, so much so that even including your paper 2. Okay, so first few I think about 45 minutes or we'll try and spend in decoding this thing. Okay, and later on I'll take up all the questions, okay, slowly with respect to how do we plan about things, how do we try to fill in backlogs if you have some, if some have started with paper 1, how do we try to be in the track of at least writing some answers once in a while, because there will be a lot of inertia. Imagine it has taken a long time for me to write the very first answer because of inertia. Okay, right, it has taken many months to start only with. At least you shouldn't be doing that. Okay, you should be at least doing some bit of practice before you switch to prelims mode of preparation file. So we will discuss briefly those aspects also. So we will spend today maybe the entire session also to understand how we are going to basically the questions pertaining to the strategy. Okay, so let me spend some time on this aspect. Let me open. And there's a saying in Hindi, okay, and those people again who have joined afresh. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so those people who are starting now, it is not backlog, it is the complete course that we are, because yeah, Krunal, don't worry, okay. Anyways, we are going to continue with paper 1 also after December. So for you, it is not per se backlog, okay. Those people who have done paper 1, a bit of paper 1, I'm discussing about those people, right? Okay, yeah, don't worry, because yeah. Now, in Hindi, there's a saying that idhar ka maal udhar, udhar ka maal idhar. What do you mean, right? That means whatever you've learned from this, you're trying to borrow and use it here. And but let fair, okay, right, yeah, okay, right. So from this and from this. So since we are spending time trying to understand what the syllabus, otherwise also how, right? So I will spend a lot of time today trying to discuss that at least how should I be able to use the content from this side to this side. In the later sessions also, we will try to use discuss, because if you have seen, there's already one session that I've taken for paper, and that is a part of that has been uploaded on YouTube also. Okay, if you look at, so there is one video of mine which wherein I have discussed both the papers of sociology. Okay, paper and the discussion was mainly to make you understand how you can pick up content from whatever we are going to study as part of sociology. But while I was discussing, I've also opened some of the content that, because I teach in for GS also, especially paper 1, and I've taught in other papers for other places also, taught many other topics in the past also. So I've opened the content of GS paper 1, and I've also tried to explain there as to how you can use GS knowledge into sociology papers. So you can those people who are interested to understand, know more about how these sessions will be useful for us to directly write the answers, okay, in the paper, this paper 2024 mains, can look at that video also, which has been uploaded on, there are two channels, okay, there are Learn with UPSC Prep and UPSC Prep. So there's about 2 hour session is there, okay. So you can look at that session also to understand both the papers of sociology as to how GS can also be used, okay. But mostly we'll try to see how sociology paper 2 can be, knowledge of sociology paper 2 can be used in GS paper 1, okay. So I've divided into 4 papers, okay, and I'll open the क्या बोलते हैं papers also. I'll directly open the papers. So I hope most of you would have had a quick look at the papers this year, okay, not just sociology paper 1 and 2, you must have had a look at essay and then GS paper 1. Now, if you look at, and this time again, as usual, if you have to, paper 1, the most important topic in terms of weightage, in terms of number of questions that are asked, it is Indian society, okay. This year, almost approximately, I would say, 100 marks worth of questions. Now, when you look at this paper, 100 marks worth of questions, which are, or more than 100 marks, I would say, which are related to some way or the indirectly also related to society, okay. You should, as a sociology optional student, okay, you should be able to get that at least edge of 10-15 marks. Okay, so here we have looked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 questions, I would say, wherein you can use that value addition from your sociology knowledge. See, everyone is going to attempt these questions. Even those persons with mathematic options are going to attempt these questions. But what I'm trying to say is that compared to any other average competitor, the fact that you have sociology optional, you should be able to get that leverage half 1 mark har question mein, so that at least 10-15 marks in this particular paper only you are able to get an edge, right? Likewise, in paper 2, there were about 5 to 6 questions wherein, so at least 5 marks यहाँ पे आपको, you should aim and get that extra edge, right? GS3 में about 5 questions हैं, right? And then GS4 में there are about, I would say, yeah, about three case studies, and then see at least 2 case studies. This time I would say how 3 case studies में you can use the knowledge of sociology and get that edge, okay? So that is what I'm saying. So about 25 to 30 marks also is an added advantage if you're conscious of this fact that, okay, this is what I'm going to use in my GS papers also, fine, right? So let us quickly look at how paper 1 may, and we'll try to, I will even open the class ka slides also, which will be using for the coming sessions also of the previous batch ka. I will try to use the previous batch sessions ka PPT or paper 2, okay, and quickly show you as to how this could have, you could have added extra content, value addition. For example, first question, what is this? Quickly, let us look at this question. Underline changes in the field of society and economy from the Rig Vedic to the later Vedic. तो यहाँ पे देखो, the question is of आपका ancient art and culture or your ancient medieval India, okay, history. It is not Indian society का question, but यहाँ पे देखो, right? Social change society in ancient, and where do we discuss these things? Briefly, we discuss these things in paper 2. We will, I will show you, for example, okay? Now, today also, today or tomorrow, we are going to start talk about Indology. So when we are going to talk about Indology is in a way trying to study our rich texts, right? Your Upanishad, Vedas, right? And by looking at those texts, trying to understand what society would have been like, right? For example, I'll look at the epics like Mahabharata and Ramayana and try to understand ki, acha, if Ramayana has so all these people who, and what was the kind of society like, right? What was the kind of marriage like? What was the kind of relationship like, right? What were the kinds of conflicts in the society? What were the kind of problems that were there, right? So if you are looking at some text and you are trying to understand what the क्या बोलते हैं society like, right? That is what is in a way Indology. And when we are going to discuss topics like, if not this chapter, let me open topic like your caste system. Okay, let me open topic which we are going to discuss in आपका ये देखिए. तो इसमें भी हम लोग क्या डिस्कस करेंगे पेपर 2 में कास्ट सिस्टम. दीज आर द एस्पेक्ट्स. सो लुक एट द काइंड ऑफ सिलेबस फीचर्स ऑफ कास्ट सिस्टम. नो व्हेन आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस कास्ट सिस्टम, राइट, आई एम आल्सो गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट its origin, how it has emerged. Okay, and if you look at the origin, any idea, basic knowledge, you must be having some bit of knowledge about caste, right? How did that? So we will briefly discuss about the origin of caste in terms of Vedas do talk about Varna system. And any idea where is it mentioned? We have 4 Vedas. So amongst the 4 Vedas, kahan pe aapka caste system, which is integral part of your society. Okay, so which has been asked in the question. Okay, any idea? Any guesses? Very good. Exactly. Okay. Very good. Okay, some of you know. Very good. So Rig Veda में, so Vedas have Rig Veda में आपका शुक्ता से hymns है, set of hymns, right? सुक्ता, so उसमें पुरुष सुक्ता. तो वहां पे क्या मेंशन, यहाँ पे पुरुष का मतलब है ब्रह्मा, लॉर्ड ब्रह्मा. सो इन ऑर्डर टू इंश्योर some bit of social order, some bit of stability in society, Brahma has sacrificed his own life. Okay, so that is what is mentioned in Purusha Sukta. And when he was sacrificing his own life, whatever has emerged out of his head are those people who are considered to be Brahmins. Whatever has emerged out of the arms, okay, it is considered your Kshatriyas. Okay, then whatever is to your torso or your then that is your Vaishya, and then whatever has emerged out of legs is your Shudras. Okay, and from this is what we have seen that caste system is different in a way. We'll discuss all those things in details. So there will be reference to whether it is Indology that we study in paper 2, whether it is many of the other things that we're going to study in paper 2, there will be reference to history, right? Your art and culture ka topics. So that way, at least I would say half a mark extra to aapko banta hi hai, because you are going to give that additional extra. Yes, exactly. Okay. Yeah, so today is the first session, so there wouldn't be much of no notes. Okay, you don't have to make any notes first session. Obviously, from tomorrow when we start the actual classes, I will discuss as to how to make the notes also, right? Tomorrow also we will spend time, right? Every session we'll spend some time on strategy related things. This is what I keep doing, have been doing in paper 1 also, right? Okay, so आज तो पूरा mostly strategy के point of view, you don't have to make much of the notes, just focus on what we are going to discuss. Okay, so यहाँ पे paper question 1 है, right? Likewise, let us look at other questions. Migration question 5, 8, 9. Let us quickly look at 5, 8, 9. क्या है? 5 है आपका, why do large cities tend to attract more migrants from the smaller towns? Discuss in the light of conditions of developing countries. Okay, so though it is a broader question, it is a question mostly to do with आपका urban geography. Okay, geography. But do we study urbanization? Do we study rural to क्या बोलते हैं आपका migration? Let us quickly look whether that is there as a part of syllabus or not. Let us look at the syllabus. यहाँ पे देखते हैं क्या migration है कि नहीं. Let me search for migration. Yes, देखो यहाँ पे, right? And if you want me to open this chapter also, for example, rural and agrarian transformation. Let me open that slide, rural and agrarian transformation. So in the classes, though it is a paper 1, paper 2 topic, I made sure that it is a wider, you get a wider understanding also, right? So I briefly discussed about the migration, not just within India, partly about beyond India also while I was doing the classes. So some content here, right? Whatever you learn, you should be able to add on. Okay, so you're not supposed to, anyways. It's not that you're trying to use the names of the sociologies that we're going to discuss in paper 2, right? But you will get to know what are the different views, what are the different insights, what is the data that we've discussed about, what are the different points that we've discussed. Okay, तो आप जब आंसर लिखोगे तो आपका ये जी आंसर होगा, whatever you're going to write as an answer for this question would have that extra bit of points, at least 2 to 3 points extra, that is going to fetch you that half 1 mark extra here. Okay, this question also. Okay, then question number 8, 9, 10 are directly of Indian society. So obviously it would be a sin. It would be a sin if, as a sociology student, if you're not able to gain that extra marks in Indian society paper. Okay, let us look at 8, 9, 10 questions also. What were the questions like? Distinguish between gender equality, gender equity, women empowerment. Okay, why is it important to take gender concerns into account, right? Now, imagine gender, where all we discuss about gender issues pertaining to women. Okay, first thing, let me look at आपका paper 2 में there is a syllabus item which is your family. Yes, and if you look at topic here, patriarchy, sexual division of labor, right? This is where we touch upon aspects like gender equality, gender equity kya hai, right? So your conceptual clarity in terms of women empowerment, what are the problems, what is equity or equality, what is the find, you will be have much more clarity on those aspects because you are a sociology student, right? And you should be immediately be aware, okay, whatever I've learned in terms of what is leading to the differentiation. Say, for example, there are certain biases that we discuss about gender, right? These biases are in fact leading to the differences that we see, discrimination. Okay, and what are the right, like all these biases. So imagine you using these terms also, right there in your answers, you're using specific things that we discuss, if not the names of the sub points. Okay, some of the points, you're definitely going to get that edge of, okay, क्या बोलते हैं, 1 or 2 marks here. In fact, in so Indian society question, you should be aiming for at least 1 to 1.5 marks extra in each of the question. Imagine, okay, right? So this is how you could have gotten good marks, better marks in question number 8. Then intercaste marriages, interreligious marriages. Imagine how much time that we spent on marriage. Again, I love the same thing. Okay, I've just closed it down. ये कहाँ पे हम लोग discuss करते हैं marriage. And in fact, if you looked at the question, this time marriage question has been asked in sociology also. Last year also there was a question on marriage in GS paper 1. This year also there is a question on marriage in GS paper 1. There is a question this year in sociology paper 2. Okay, fine. And you can expect tomorrow also. Why again? Imagine what is in news with respect to marriage of late. If you've been reading newspapers, all those people, tell me what is that burning issue with respect to marriage that you're reading in the newspapers, which would trigger. Okay, one is very good. Okay, UCC is there definitely. Okay, and the other is your marital rape. Exactly. Right. So tomorrow, as there could be a question trying to make you. I wouldn't be surprised if marital rape and its impact on the institution of marriage. How is it going to impact family in sociology being asked? A question on marital rape itself being asked in Indian society as to how would it change the nature of marriage, right? In GS paper 1 also. So you should be mentally be prepared. Okay, you should be mentally be prepared for that. Exactly. Fine. So here again, if you look at marriage, right? So many things that we're including, a lot of surveys, lot of data that we're going to discuss in this as part of sociology, right? What are the dysfunctions? What are the functional aspects? What are the things that are making, right? So here I've mentioned some, even I've in the classes of the previous batch, okay, previous batch, I've even spoken about marital rape. I've spoken about the data in terms of how much is the intercaste marriages, यहाँ पे, right? So some definitely your answer, for example, okay, divorce rate क्या है? Somewhere else I have discussed about the data in terms of intercaste marriage also. Okay, so imagine those people who would have done sessions, they would have written a much better answer compared to an average competitor. Okay. Next आप देखो, question number 10. In dealing with socio-economic issues of development, what kind of collaboration between government, NGOs, and private sector? So which topic, let us look at the, no, I'm going to ask you, tell me, where is the, which item in the syllabus in sociology paper 2 is it related to? Where do I get the content? If I have to borrow some content from, okay, tell me quickly, look at the syllabus. हाँ, यहाँ पे मैं कौन सा आइटम्स, यहाँ पे we will discuss these things. Pressure groups. Okay, and we're going to discuss about pressure groups. We're going to discuss about civil society, NGOs, the role of NGOs, and we're talking about the role of NGOs. So, role of NGOs. And even in case of, okay, when I'm going to discuss about social movements also, I'm going to quickly look at what are the role that has been played by some of the non-government agencies, NGOs, right? So यहाँ पे आपका तो वुमेन मूवमेंट्स भी हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे सिलेबस में. ओके, तो वुमेन मूवमेंट्स का भी कुछ कंटेंट आपका वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट के पॉइंट ऑफ में, जो क्वेश्चन प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन था वुमेन इक्वालिटी, उसमें कुछ पॉइंट्स आप बोरो कर सकते हो. यू कैन इजीली बोरो सर्टेन पॉइंट्स. ओके, एंड व्हेन वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट द रोल ऑफ NGOs in this particular question, you are going to borrow some points that we discuss here and this here also. Okay, so question number 10. Then let us look at some of the other questions that have been asked in GS. Now, question 18, 19, 20, these are again directly Indian society ka questions. But look at the other questions also, right? Industrial revolution, this is a history question. Impact on cottage industries, right? Now, let me directly open that. Okay, see, colonial rule. हाँ, ये अपना कहाँ है, कौन सा वाला है, right? This is your industrialization in the urban. Okay, so this is where we will discuss lot of things. Okay, how industrialization happened pre-independence, also during independence, post-independence, what are the developments like, what has been the impact of colonial rule, and directly imagine यहाँ पे मैंने directly search किया cottage industries. हाँ, तो ये question, this question, see, you are anyways going to study some bit of it in your history part also. This is a question of history, but imagine whatever we study, industrial revolution, otherwise also we study briefly in paper 1. तो आपका जो पेपर 1 में थोड़ा सोशियोलॉजी का नॉलेज, इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन, पेपर 2 में वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी कॉलोनियल रूल में what is the impact of industrialization on cottage industries and all. So imagine your answer, would it not be better than an average competitor, because you are going to give that extra few points because of your knowledge of this question. So this is not even a question of Indian society, this is a question of history. Okay, likewise art and culture में कुछ points up sociology के point of view में, because you studied sociology, you are going to add on certain things. Okay, so similarly another question in this particular paper only, if you look at is your 17th. Okay, 17th क्वेश्चन क्या है? 17th क्वेश्चन तो ये तो डायरेक्टली 17 से 20 तक, these 4 questions are Indian society का part, तो everything will be directly related to what you study in paper 2 also. Okay, so regional disparity, diversity, where from which part of sociology paper 2 would you borrow content into this answer of GS? Tell me, syllabus में कहाँ mentioned है? हाँ, कौन सा वाला item? Let us look at the syllabus, okay? Let us look at. So let me otherwise directly search regionalism. Is regionalism mentioned somewhere? Yes. कहाँ? हाँ, ये रहा. Okay. Regionalism, decentralization of power. Okay. So if let me open that topic itself for you. And when we talk about decentralization of power, what are the questions? Expect some question in paper two also. आपका फेडरलिज्म, सेंटर स्टेट रिलेशंस, आपका लोकल बॉडीज, आपका डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन, right? Some questions which are overlapping with your paper two questions also, right? Whatever you learn. So let me quickly show you what we're going to learn here in this part, okay? Regionalism, let me, this, yeah. All those things, okay? Different kinds, what are the different perspectives, okay? So you're not supposed to use in GS these names, but whatever they're going to discuss is a valid point which you can use as your own points, okay? So we are going to spend a lot of time trying to discuss about regional diversity, regional disparity, right? So imagine directly some of the points you can easily borrow and write as points in this answer, okay? Differ from diversity, right? How serious is the issue of regional disparity? We discuss a lot of things with respect to regional. So आप see, you are anyways going to study these things as part of Indian society, okay? Indian society, in a lot of people spend only less amount of time reading about regionalism, communalism. Maybe they will have only, if they're doing some classes, they will have only few pages का content. तो वो जो आंसर लिखेंगे, imagine करो, right? Someone with, let's say, any other optional, okay? And you writing your answer, obviously dot of content you will be using in addition to whatever you learn as part of your this thing, okay? Then, okay, despite comprehensive policy, equality and social justice, underprivileged sections are not getting full benefits of affirmative action envisaged by Constitution. Imagine affirmative action, okay? So when we talk about affirmative action, right, it is to do with women, it is to do with underprivileged, like your scheduled tribes, scheduled caste, other backward classes, within them also poor people, EWS. Okay, so all of these things we extensively discuss. Imagine, right? This year there was a question in case of with respect to Dalit movement also, empowerment of Dalits also. So imagine these things directly. It is mentioned in your syllabus. Backward classes, Dalit movements. When we are talking about their movements, it is to do with a lot of it is to do with their the affirmative action. They're fighting for their rights in terms of affirmative action also. Quickly, let me come down and show you how those things. We're going to discuss about many schemes also, right? For the sake of women empowerment. See, आपका affirmative action कहाँ से start हुआ इन्हें, right? Any start to constitution already started, but it has been extended during to other OBCs also. So all of these things, imagine we are going to discuss in lot of detail. So obviously, आपका जो points है, because of your understanding in sociology, you should be able to score a little more in this question also, right? Next question, globalization, migration. ठीक है, तो just now I've shown you how migration is part of your syllabus, right? So whatever, okay, global, how is it going to impact, or otherwise urbanization also, and then institution of family, okay, family को कैसे affect करेगा globalization. So when we are going to discuss the institution of family, there also we are going to discuss about the impact of globalization, maybe or in general also what is happening. So let me open the same chapter again, family wala chapter. So we'll the different kinds of family. So once you have this deep level of conceptual understanding of family, right? So see, that is what. So all those people who are merely preparing for GS, that too superficially, they will not have deeper understanding of what family. So they would not be able to imagine कि क्या और इम्पैक्ट हो सकता है, जेनरिक आंसर लिखेंगे, वेरी सुपरफिशियल आंसर लिखेंगे. इमेजिन बिकॉज ऑफ द डीपर अंडरस्टैंडिंग यू हैव of what family is, what is going to be the impact of family, how the family is changing, the nature of family is changing, especially Indian family, right, due to the impacts, how joint family is getting disintegrated into nuclear family. This is also partly indirectly or directly there is a globalization का रोल. आपका 1990s में क्या भी जो भी चेंजेस मिले हैं, right, so all of those things, we, right, obviously. So the way you are going to write the answer directly, you should be able to, yes. Okay. So this question, then finally, if you look at the 20th question, critically analyze the proposition that there is a high correlation between India's culture diversities and marginalities. Okay. A lot of things about diversity we're going to discuss in paper 2, right? And then marginalities. So just now I've discussed, when we look at economic marginalities, partly related to whenever we are going to discuss in regionalism, there also we are going to discuss, right, how diversities are also impacting the marginalities, okay, development. And we are going to discuss aspects like, let me show you, ethnic conflicts and communalism. What are the roots of some of the ethnic conflicts and the ethnic diversity? And also at the same time, if there is also development lag or development deficit, you will see these things. We will, whenever we're going to discuss about poverty, deprivation, there also, yeah, baby. So a lot of things in this chapter that we're going to discuss, the last chapter of paper 2, you should be able to imagine the disparities, okay. तो इसमें से आपका there will be some points that you can directly use in this particular answer, right? So is it not clear as to how important it is to also get that extra edge of, so imagine the 10 questions that I've discussed in paper 1, seven questions directly Indian society ka, and then 3 additional questions. Now compared to any other average competitor of you, would you not be aiming to get that extra 1 mark in each of those questions? It is doable, it is possible. You just have to be a little more conscious, okay. So imagine about 10 to 15 marks in one paper only, that you're getting an edge, okay. Likewise, about 5 to 10 marks in paper 2, about 5 marks in paper 3, about 5 to 10 marks. So what I'm talking about is about 20-25 marks of ऐसे ही आपको edge मिलना चाहिए, because you have done good amount of justice, okay. But that happens, see, that happens with some bit of practice, definitely, okay. After because you should be, कुछ लोगों को पता नहीं होता कि I can use certain things. People don't realize the fact that what I've learned in GS, I can use in sociology, or whatever I learned in sociology, I can use in GS. But again, I will discuss as to where you have to be careful when you're using sociology content in GS. So whenever I'm talking about all of these things, obviously it should not appear as if you're right. The points that you're mentioning, you cannot directly use Walter Fernandez has said so and so, because he is a sociology. So the person with only sociology background would be knowing this person, who this person is. So when you're writing a GS answer, the person who is evaluating your GS papers are not someone who is having a sociology background. So they should also be able to, but at least whatever point that they're saying, you can use it as a, in simple English, when you're writing that as a point, without bombarding with so many names of sociologists, only their point in simple English you're able to express as an extra point. Obviously, that will be understood by the person who is evaluating. Yeah, yes. Obviously, definitely there will be some common terms, some common names, like some people have become so popular, though they are sociologists, they have become so popular that you can use in GS also without worrying about the fact that, okay, I'm, okay, like say some terms. Uh, since for a lot of you, it is the first class, somewhere you must have, while you are reading the newspapers, you must have read about the terms like dominant caste. Yes, कहीं ना कहीं पेपर में आपने पढ़ा होगा. Somewhere you might have read about certain things like Sanskritization. So these are generally the terms which we often use. We presume that a sociology student who should be knowing after the completing the course of sociology, they must be knowing what these terms are. So even if these terms which have become so popular in general parlance also, you tend to read those things in newspapers also. There is no harm in using those things. Similarly, some names which we write, Karl Marx, तो हर जगह आपने पढ़ा होगा, लोग पढ़ते ही, right? Some feminist scholars, everywhere they're seen in the newspapers being mentioned about, okay, which we otherwise study in sociology. So some things which you believe are commonly known to people, you can always use those names. Exactly, okay, mobility, all those terms. ठीक है. Now quickly let us look at paper. We discussed paper 1. पेपर 2 में भी क्वेश्चंस, ये पेपर 1 को क्लोज करता हूँ मैं, एक सेकेंड. हाँ, पेपर 2 ओपन करता हूँ. एंड पेपर 2 में कितने क्वेश्चंस डायरेक्टली और राइट, say for example 5 7 8 12 13 15. Let us look at those questions also quickly. Question number 5. Analyze the role of local bodies in providing good governance, local level, to bring out the pros and cons of merging local bodies or urban local bodies. हाँ, तो ये जो ऑब्वियसली यू विल स्टडी दिस थिंग इन पॉलिटी, बट इमेजिन द फैक्ट दैट ये वाला कहाँ पे होगा आपका. लेट मी ओपन decentralization of power, which is there in politics. So if I open that politics wala chapter quickly, let me open that politics. देखो यहाँ पे डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन है, तो लास्ट में जाऊंगा डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन. डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन see, national, state, local, कैसे decentralization. So we will discuss. So these things you are anyways going to study in polity, but imagine as part of your sociology paper too also we are going to discuss क्या problems है, evolution of decentralization, what are the views of these people. So imagine your conceptual clarity with respect to decentralization. Center से state, state से local bodies, okay. क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स होते हैं, क्या क्या कंस्ट्रेंट्स होते हैं. तो आपका जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, इमेजिन योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग अबाउट this particular aspect of decentralization of power, and the way you are going to write the answers here also is going to fetch you that extra half 1 mark compared to any other person. Yes, right. Then 5, आपका 7 वाला, poverty and malnutrition. This question we will spend lot of time. Poverty का vicious cycle, let me open. So poverty and malnutrition का vicious cycle है, but vicious cycle we discuss a lot. We discuss about human capital also. Let me open poverty वर related. यहाँ पे poverty का इसमें discuss करते हैं. Inequality, then poverty, okay. And this, while I was discussing, I will open the GIS one also. So I tend to discuss a lot of things about, okay, vicious cycle. So imagine, so once you know about this kind of a vicious cycle, you just have to incorporate malnutrition का. Imagine some kind of a diagram like that. You would have corner में आपने आंसर में बना दिया, poverty और malnutrition का एक vicious cycle का diagram आपने एक corner में छोटा सा box बना के आपने draw कर लिया. Imagine if you right, and whatever. So obviously there only you're going to fetch that additional marks here and there, okay. So there was a question. So question number 8, democratic governance and civil service, right? Democratic governance in civil service. Okay. Now, when we are going to talk about governance, okay, we will, when we discuss this chapter, आपका politics and society में democracy के बारे में. So what do you mean by democracy? And what is the role of civil servants? You can extend that. And if you imagine what Baba Sahib Ambedkar has spoken about democracy per se, right? There is something called substantive democracy, right? It is not merely the fact that you are trying to follow the rules. Elections conduct कर रहे हो as a DM, as a civil servant, your main duty is to conduct some kind of elections or try to see that some rules are followed. Okay, it's not the case. You should ensure substantive democracy, right? Where substantive democracy, the idea is like, okay, democracy is a grounded reality of society, right? Substantive, right? What Ambedkar is trying to talk about democracy, okay? It is not merely social merely the political democracy that we're talking about. We are looking at social and economic changes without this thing, okay? So some of the views you could have at least borrowed some points from here. Your understanding, yes, your understanding about your democracy also is widened because of you study this thing in, so जो पॉलिटी में पढ़ते हो उसके बियॉन्ड आपका जो ब्रॉडर अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप होता है by looking at the paper too, right? Your answer is going to stand out here also. Your answer is going to stand out here also, right? When I'm talking about governance, fine. Then the other questions, if you look at questions on paternity testing. Okay, there's a question on paternity testing. यहाँ पे भी, in fact, yesterday in one of the previous breach classes में, if you read the article, no, this time in news there was an article of semen being of a dead person. आपने पढ़ा होगा कि पेरेंट्स, हाँ, ART टेक्नोलॉजी, पेरेंट्स आस्क requesting the court that can they use the semen which has been saved by a person who was about to die with cancer, can they use that to, right? तो वही वाला imagine, ये जो paternity test ultimately is what, when we discuss about family, some perspectives that we discuss is क्यों family emerge होता है, right? It is to establish paternity. क्योंकि फैमिली में क्या है, यू हैव टू आल्सो ट्रांसफर द प्रॉपर्टी फ्रॉम वन जनरेशन टू अदर जनरेशन, right? So for that reason it is very important for you to identify who is the father, because only mother knows who is the father. Okay, so why is it that there is only one kind of a institutional marriage in that is popular? Monogamous institutional marriage is so popular because there is a one-to-one relation that you can establish. So your understanding with respect to paternity or paternity testing, obviously the answer that you write, even if it is a polity question, okay, is going to be of, again, the answer is going to stand out because of your additional points. Just now I not discussed center state relations, decentralizations? Okay, secularism, let me show you secularism directly. Okay, what I've discussed, secularism कहाँ पे है देखो. When we are going to study secularization, we are going to differentiate between what is secularization and secularism also. So let me open what I've discussed. I've used the slides of paper 1 also. So यहाँ पे भी I've used in the sociology session secularism. यहाँ पे देखिए, look at this question. So whatever I'm going to discuss in the classes, this is what I've discussed with the previous batch also. USA secularism. What was the question that was asked? Fifteenth question. इसमें से क्या है, इनफैक्ट आई वुड से डायरेक्टली जस्ट जो भी यहाँ पे है copy paste कर दो, literally copy paste. Your entire answer is kind of whatever you learned that we're going to discuss in sociology, right? You're just going to vomit there, right? So imagine यहाँ पे those people who have done sociology or whatever we have discussed in the class, if that person is not getting at least 2 to 3 marks in this one extra question, extra in this question only, because यहाँ पे लोग, most of the people might not have focused so much on राइट. सो दे वुड राइट सुपरफिशियली, कुछ पॉइंट्स लिखेंगे, ऐसे कुछ कुछ जेनरिक पॉइंट्स लिख देंगे. बट इमेजिन सिंस यू हैव स्टडीड दिस थिंग मोर इन डिटेल, डू इन सोशियोलॉजी, यू आर गोइंग टू गेट एटलीस्ट दिस राइट. वहां से कॉपी पेस्ट कर दिया, मोस्ट ऑफ द पॉइंट्स, एटलीस्ट 2 marks आई वुड से विल बी मोर, और 1.5 marks compared to any other person. Okay, so if on an average if people are going to score, it's let's say it's a 15 marker. ओके, 7-8 मार्क्स से आपको तो 8-9 मार्क्स तो आराम से मिल जाना चाहिए, राइट. राइट. तो दिस इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू, सो दिस इज योर पेपर 2. Right. Now quickly let us look at paper 3 and paper 4 also. Right. So before that, shall we, it's half time already. Let's take a quick break of 5 minutes. Okay. It's 11:18. And we will quickly discuss, right? We'll spend about 15-20 minutes trying to correlate with whatever is mentioned in the, and then later on we'll take up the other generic questions like how we are going to write, because a lot of questions are there otherwise in general. Fine. So let's come back at 11:24. 5 minutes quick break लेते हैं. हाँ, our sessions will be, see, sessions 2.5 hours हैं, so don't worry those people who have joined. 10 to 12:30, sharp 12:30. I understand you have other engagements also, right? Every day we are going to spend 2.5 hours. Maybe if at all some days we might stretch 10 minutes here and there, but I understand because 3 hours is going to be little difficult for you. Okay. So we'll spend some 15-20 minutes more to discuss paper 3 and paper 4, and then we'll take up all your, I know quite a lot of people have posted other general questions also. We'll take those up one by one. Okay. Question number 1, inclusive growth. Question number 3, land reforms. 1-3. इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ कहाँ पे डिस्कस करते हैं हम लोग, यहाँ पे है growth. Okay, development again, development growth we discuss in this chapter, as well as we'll discuss development, inclusive development. Okay, rural development programs, poverty alleviation. So when we're going to discuss all of these things, we're going to discuss about inclusive development also. Yes. Okay, then the next question, land reforms. Okay, so what the questions, we'll take up questions after 15 minutes. Okay, I understand lot of pressing questions are there. Okay, the next question is land reforms. There was a question on land reforms, question number 3. Let's look at question number 3. What were the factors responsible for the successful implementation of land reforms in some parts of the country? Elaborate. Okay, and where is it mentioned in the syllabus? Is land reforms otherwise also directly mentioned? Let us look at paper 2 socio syllabus, land reforms. Land reforms, देखो यहाँ पे land tenure, land reforms. See, you are going to briefly, whatever you are going to study as part of GS is only briefly that you study about land reforms. Now, let me open what are the things that we are going to study in detail. Okay, so आपका rural and agrarian social structure है, rural and agrarian social structure. Okay, तो यहाँ पे देखिए, look at this place. Okay, and what we're going to discuss in terms of land reforms. See, land tenure, land reform. So in my last few batches that I've discussed this thing, those people could have directly copy pasted whatever we have learned in sociology. Okay, see, in so much of detail we are going to discuss what is land reforms, what is the importance, why is it that land reforms has been only successful in to some extent in places like West Bengal and Kerala. All those things I've discussed in the socio classes. So it is just merely copy paste, just vomiting whatever you know with data, whatever things that measures that have been taken. So your entire answer can be based on whatever we've discussed in sociology. Your entire answer can be borrowed from here only. See, look at those things, right? See, only it has been with data also I've justified. It has been only successful to an extent here. Kerala, Bhutan movement, some parts of Andhra, Kerala, West Bengal. With data also, I mentioned all of these things. Imagine these points if it was mentioned in your answer of this question. Question kya tha aapka, right? What were the factors responsible for sexual improvement in some parts of country? Okay, so directly. So here, if you are not able to gain that extra 2 marks, I would say easily extra 2 marks compared to any other competitor because you have studied this in your sociology. Okay, so this is paper 3. Imagine, I'm not even talking about paper 1 ke Indian society part. I'm talking about paper 3, which is right. So wahan pe bhi you're getting that, gaining that extra edge. Let us look at environmental issues. Question number 7. NGOs, I have already shown you where we study about NGOs. Pressure groups. Okay, environmental impact assessment. There are environmental movements in social movements chapter. Okay, तो यहां से आपको थोड़ा बहुत कंटेंट मिलेगा. ओके, लेबर मार्केट्स, ये एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज जो है, वी डिस्कस एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज इन ऑल्सो. यहाँ पे लेट मी ओपन दिस वन. कहाँ पे एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज, सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट. तो यहाँ पे बियॉन्ड व्हाट यू स्टडी इन एनवायरमेंट, ऑब्वियसली यू स्टडी लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स. इमेजिन, सी ऑल दोस थिंग्स वी हैव डिस्कस्ड. ट्राइबल्स का क्या डिस्प्लेसमेंट होता है, राइट? पोस्ट हिस्ट्री, पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस क्या क्या डिफरेंट प्रॉब्लम्स दैट हैव बीन फेस्ड.